This is drywall. This is drywall too. Drywall. So as you can see, most of this house is built using drywall and wood, but that might not be the case in the next 10 years based on what I saw here in Austin this last weekend.
The number one thing to see here on this house, and this is what I mean by developing new architectural vernaculars for 3D printing, is there's not a straight line in sight. It's really using almost exclusively organic forms and shapes to develop the overall structure and feel of the home.
So this past week, I've been very excited about a piece of technology that I saw physically here in Austin. It's 3D printed houses. And what's exciting about it is that it's not just conceptual. You sometimes see scientific journals publish articles that are very clickbaity, but not really. Technology is not really there in ready to be used by normal people like you and me. But what's exciting about this 3D printing of houses technology is that it's already available to people. People are already living in these houses.
We, later this year, are going to begin delivery of the first 3D printed neighborhood in the history of the world. And it is going to blow people's minds.
This is something that I think can change how we do things in construction and make us save a lot of time and energy and materials in the process.
Construction, from an environmental perspective, is the number one contributor to landfill waste. It's the number one user of energy. It's the number two user of water, unless you consider water used in energy production, in which case buildings are the number one user of water. And the number one source of atmospheric carbon is construction and buildings.
So the way I found out about this 3D printed house is because my wife a month ago invited me to this AIA home store, which is pretty much going to these very well designed, very well constructed houses. And one of those houses was this 3D printed house. And all these are amazing. All the furniture, all the materials used on the exteriors, the interiors, everything is awesome. You feel really nice inside these houses. And so we get to this 3D printed house. I didn't know it was going to be one of the houses in the tour, and it wasn't the first one. But once we got there, I thought the walls, the 3D printed walls, look kind of strange. So they're wavy, of course. They're not flat. And that makes it feel a little different. Not bad, but also not amazing. That's how I would describe it. Even though I say it didn't feel amazing, I feel very excited about this technology. And I don't want to take anything away from what they're doing. They're doing something incredible. I think it's really, really tough to pull something like this out and actually have a built house with a 3D printing machine. People actually are living there and working with architects, working with all these other people like electrical, sewage, all the things that are involved in construction. Kind of getting 3D printing into the mix makes it even harder. So I think they did an amazing job. I don't want to take anything away from them. I'm sure they will polish kind of how they look. They made it look like this specifically because they wanted you to feel like it was a 3D printed house. They wanted you to get the raw feeling of what it is, where the technology is at.
The other things we really tried to do at this house is to really embrace the 3D printing exactly as it is. Exterior and interior wall finishes were left largely untouched. We don't have any paint or finishes on the exterior or paint or finishes on the interior except for select locations, especially in the bathrooms, mostly just to show what's possible. But we wanted the printing to stand on its own two legs and to really sort of own exactly the state of the technology, the state of the print quality. And the result is like it's incredibly warm and organic, and the unanimous consent of the folks who have been here and stayed here so far is like the house is spectacular. And in fact,
and for you to know that it was built using 3D printing, and also they wanted to highlight the curves because so with this technology you can make curves really easily. It doesn't cost extra.
This sort of slopes and curves and organic forms are the same price as straight walls.
In traditional buildings, if you want to design a curve in one of the walls, it's super expensive. So they kind of use that a lot in this house. There were a lot of holes that were kind of curved, which was kind of cool. I think it gives you a lot of more options on what you can do. If you ever come to Austin and you want to stay in one of these 3D printed houses, there's an Airbnb that you can stay at. It's $197 per night. It's a very nice place, so check it out if that's something that you're into. You can see the walls, kind of how they feel, or how it would feel to live in one of these. So to me, Jason Ballard and his team, so Jason is the CEO of Icon, the company behind the technology. They're on absolutely the right track. I think this can absolutely revolutionize how we build houses. It hasn't changed in a while, and I think this is just a very new, exciting way of doing things. Cheaper, faster, and with less environmental impact because there's less waste in how you build. You don't have to use as much wood to kind of like build a house, and it's just already everything's in the right spot from the get-go. You don't use any extra materials to do it. So that's quite exciting. And one of the things they're doing actually is setting up for building things in Mars and the moon, kind of like a moon base. In the future, they're working with other companies that are just preparing a lunar base, pretty much, which is nuts. So there you have it. 3D printing, the technology caught my eye just recently. I wanted to talk about it because I want more people to know about what this amazing company is doing. See you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing if you like the video, and like it. It helps the channel grow as well. See you.